We went for two reasons. One, to
Yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas, and let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree. Hey, by the way, where are you in Oregon? Where's your home? I think we lost you.
Yeah.
We still have comedy, though. We still have great comedy out there. There's always rambling Joe Biden. What the fuck? Joe says shit that even people with Tourette's go, no. No. What is going on? Joe is like your uncle who's on a new drug and hasn't got the dosage right. I'm proud to work with Barack America. He's not a superhero, you idiot. Come here. When FDR was on television, there was no TV back then. Come here, Joe. Sit down.
Donald Trump does pose an existential threat to this. It's not hypothetical. Russia will be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, etc. And if we do, and I'm sure we can proclaim the palmist, with the palmist who wrote these following words.
And to get hot, I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
So I'm going to say something outrageous. I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Barack and I think it's a right for people to have bad health care. And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. Fight for the proposition that we hold these truths to be self-evident. Sounds corny. Not a joke. Think about it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. You know how we talk about it. Are we the people? Folks. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Well, as you know, the G7 in Cornwall, Joe Biden's first major summit as US president, has meant also that he's had an audience with the Queen at Windsor Castle. The questions have been raised about his mental acuity after a series of embarrassing gaffes, including this bizarre response to a reporter at his press conference yesterday.
When you're having these conversations with European allies who are very concerned about these sanctions, how do you justify that? And what are your plans?
120 days. Give me a break. Need time.
Oh, he's been president for 145 days, not 120.
But Biden's latest gaffes are stealing the spotlight away from speculation about his presidential aspirations.
For their trust.
Like his strange hold on Defense Secretary Ash Carter's wife, Stephanie, and this claim about Somali immigrants in his hometown of Wilmington, Delaware.
It's a large, very identifiable Somali community. There's an awful lot of driving cabs, and are friends of mine, for real. I'm not being solicitous. I'm being serious.
And it turns out factually incorrect. Only 15 Somalis live in the entire state, according to the Census Bureau. And Wilmington cab drivers told CNN they knew of no Somalis driving taxis.
Called Great Recession. The president asked me to be in charge of managing that piece, then President Trump. Excuse me, Freudian slip. That was the last president. he caused, anyway, that was President Obama when I was vice president.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
I know you're a little younger than I am, but, you know, I've adopted the attitude of the great Negro at the time.
Senator Joseph Biden may have more explaining to do.
The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
Bye-bye Biden. He may not know it yet, but I think this is going to be very difficult for him to recover.
Actually super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Oh! COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives, when you think about it, more lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years.
So we wanted to ask him, why this change in strategy? Take a look. Yesterday you said you accepted Bernie's apology and now you're attacking him. Why are you doing that?
Go.
Why wasn't his apology enough, Mr. Vice President? Why attack Sanders?
Why? Oh, you're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. He apologized for saying that I was corrupt. He didn't say anything about whether or not I was telling the truth about Social Security.
Thank you guys.
So please, vote. Help us get out the vote. Go to iwillvote.com/MI. In Detroit, more than 20 years. Look, you have now 20 early voting centers. They're open now all across the city.
Because they invaded another country and annexed a significant portion of it called Crimea. He's saying that it was my boss. You know, the rapidly rising I don't know.
Good news is, for me, I'm here. The bad news for you is, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And I want to see these beautiful young ladies. I want to see them dancing when they're 4 years older, too.
I just spoke at Dartmouth on healthcare at the medical school, or not, I guess I wasn't actually on the campus, but the people from the medical school were at the, I want to be clear, I'm not going nuts. I'm not sure whether it's a medical school or where the hell. My physical as well as my mental fitness.
Taken a cognitive...
No, I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not. What do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say?
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true and international effort to pressure. Mobilize true and international effort to pressure. We can't rebuild our economy and meet this climate crisis. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Kingswood Community Center.
Actually, that's the one down I used to work. It's a joke. You know where we were. Anyway, welcome to the nation's Constitution Center. I had the great privilege of being the guest leader of this outfit for a year. It's an appropriate place to make the speech I'm about to make.
Secret Service team, the Eagle has landed and is making his way down the helicopter stairs. We know his history with stairs, and this could be a disaster. Stand by. Eagle has made it down the stairs. He was a little wobbly at the end, but he made it. Eagle appears to be very disoriented today. We're going to need to do like last time and point out exactly where we need him to go. Secret Service team, prepare to point. Hold that point. Perfect. No way he could miss that. Eagle will be turning in 5, 4, 3, 2. He missed his mark. He missed his mark. Eagle is wandering. Jesus Christ. All units be advised, we are going to need a pretty lady or small child of some sort with nice smelling hair to get the Eagle back on track. And we've lost visual.
Senator, I mean, but I mean, it's not about, I know you're supporting by saying booing, but look, here's the deal.
Down and whisper in my ear. And go home and get me pillows. They would make sure they'd actually, probably nothing ever taught in, you can't do it in the COVID time, but they'd actually breathe in my nostrils to make me move, to get me moving. And what makes his wild claims and hopes, he now hopes we don't notice what he said or won't remember. And when he does follow through or doesn't do, would follow through the exact opposite. I propose, and I'm going to digress slightly. We're in a situation. The president asked me to head up a cancer a couple days ago at a rally. I don't want to misquote him. And he said at the rally, and I wrote this down. He said that we're virtually turned the corner. He doesn't want to shed light. He wants to generate heat, and he's stroking violence. What you saw on television. These white supremacists, Nazi sympathizers, carrying Nazi fags. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. What happened? And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you why can't the experts say we know that this virus is in fact it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved but permanently approved.
Democratic presidential candidate Joseph Biden today faces a controversy. 3 weeks ago at a debate at the Iowa State Fair, he used phrases identical to those delivered by British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock.
Biden seemed to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife is sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family, in 1,000 generations, to be able to get to university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania don't come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground, and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
The notion that every thought or notion or idea you'd have to go back and find and attribute to someone, I think is, quite frankly, ludicrous.
The problem here is that Senator Biden told his audience he'd just been thinking about these things, and he failed to give any credit at all to his famous British speechwriter.
You know, I was thinking on the way over here. Now that's a little too much because, as you point out, what's behind the words? What's there? And a lot of people, the rap on Biden has always been that it's just a surface.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
But CBS News found a tape of a second instance.
It reappeared in the New York Times with a new charge, that Biden had appropriated a famous litany from the late Robert Kennedy about what the gross national product cannot measure.
It cannot measure the health of our children.
The health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
for the joy of their play.
Biden gave Kennedy no credit. He has also quoted or paraphrased John Kennedy, Hubert Humphrey, and British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock, all without credit.
Joseph Biden admitted today that he committed plagiarism when he was in law school. He said it was a mistake, but that it was unintentional.
Most cruelly of all, if Donald Trump has his way, the complications from COVID-19, which are well beyond what they should be. It's estimated that 200 million people have died, probably by the time I finish this talk.
The way China will respond is when we gather the rest of the world that in fact envision in open trade and making sure that we're in a position that the world that we deal with WHO the right way. That in fact that's when things begin to change. I looked at it anyway. That's what I think my plan. I know what my plan does.
I was a Democratic caucus. You ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
That's why I've made it a priority my entire career to work closely with you. From the time I got to the Senate 180 years ago. And already Minnesota and New Mexico have done that. North Carolina announced its 100-day incentive, its $100 incentive today. Places that have offered the $100. That'd be really good. I'd go back and get vaccinated 3 times. I'm not going to be a mule. I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom. That saves billions of gallons of gasoline. I mean, billions of I think it's $2.3 billion worth of, $500 billion in savings and 2-something billion metric tons of CO2 going in the air. Great. Hey, everyone. I'm Joe Biden's husband. But the truth is, she's the strongest person I know. She's a backbone like a ramrod. That's the kind of first lady, this Jill Biden will be. God love you. If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. Have the shells, a 12-gauge shotgun. And I promise you, as I told my wife, we live in an area that's wooded and somewhat secluded. I said, Jill, if there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony here or walk out, put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house. I promise you, who's ever coming in is not going to... You don't need an AR-15. It's harder to aim, it's harder to use, and in fact, you don't need 30 rounds to protect yourself. Buy a shotgun. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
The Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000 well-equipped as any army in the world, and an Air Force, against something like 75,000 Taliban. It is not inevitable. Do I trust the Taliban? No. But I trust the capacity of the Afghan military, who is better trained, better equipped, and more competent in terms of conducting war.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
Chuck Graham, state senator's here. Chuck, stand up, Chuck. Let him see you. Oh, God love you. What am I talking about? I tell you what, you're making everybody else stand up, though, pal.
They actually, well, look, I mean, he has made clear that fewer democracies in the world today than we did 15 years ago. Fewer, not more, fewer.
Things going here in Cornwall.
Very well.
We choose truth over facts.
Folks, eliminate one tax loophole out of $1.6 trillion worth. $1.4 trillion worth. Out of $1.4 billion. It's hard to even say it, it's so much. And by the way, it's cost a lot of money. It cost about $740 billion over 10 years.